Alright, so I just wanted to make a quick video and talk a little bit for you guys about Novo Nordisk, the guidance, the lowering, and what it means going forward. Because as Novo Nordisk investors, if you're a bag holder, if you're new in the company, well, then you might have realized that this is not the first time that they are lowering guidance. This is, as a matter of fact, the 5th time in a row, and they removed guidance and then re-added it, and there's been so much uncertainty, fear and doubt around this company. Will it change? Hopefully, I'm enjoying the lower prices, buying more of this company, trying to get to that goal of 100 shares in Novo Nordisk before I start to build another position. And now at a little bit lower prices, this is easier once again. So started buying below the 50s and then bought a little bit on the way up, and now buying more here on this dip. So in terms of valuation, price to earnings, very cheap. This is reasonable in terms of the forecasted actual decrease in growth. Let's take a quick look here at the AI summary that Bloomberg made on some of the comments from the CEO in this case. So I will read this for you guys who are listening in on the video. So Novo Nordisk's Chief Executive Officer asked investors to stick with him after a dire sales forecast caused a share price rout, saying a surge in prescriptions for cheaper obesity drugs will eventually revive growth. So just a few comments around this. We're seeing price controls in the US. We saw a deal with Trump to lower prices on drugs. So this cheaper drugs, of course, that's going to hit total revenue. Even if they sell more volume at a lower price, total sales will be lower. But just give it some time, and eventually the expansion of this obesity market alone will ensure that, alright, revenue will be higher in the future than now in that scenario. And what did we see with these new pills? Well, 90% of the ones who did Wegovy purchase this subscription, they did the lowest dose. So likely not cannibalization in this case of injectables, but rather new patients who are curious about the treatment and who want to get into the GLPs to lose weight. Right, so the Danish drug maker predicted sales will drop as much as 13% this year because of unprecedented price pressure in the US and competition from generic versions of its blockbusters in some markets. So, as I mentioned, the first part of this AI summary, lower sales price, this price pressure, but then the second part talking about generic versions, we see this in, for example, countries like Brazil, where drugs are extremely cheap, and by law they are making it very easy for generic versions. So of course the AI picking up on this as well. So Novo's CEO Mike Daustar said that the price reduction is an investment for our future, and the company will stick to its strategy as it sees prescription growth as the first signal of a boost in volume that can drive gains in the longer term. So some short-term headwind for some long-term tailwind in the opinion of the CEO in this case. And the markets does not really seem to believe him in this case, as we saw a very negative reaction on released guidance prior to earnings. And then Eli Lilly came out with assertive and strong guidance in this case. But right now, in terms of valuation, a very, very cheap company. So even with some reduction in growth, it's still looking attractive in my opinion. And that's why I'm building that position to 100 shares in the dividend portfolio that I have a series about here on YouTube, by the way, Road to $100,000 dividend portfolio. So check that video out next. Alright, that's been it for this video, and as always, hope you guys make a ton of money, whatever investments you decide to make. Take care now. Bye bye.